So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a very simple strategy that you can use to run Facebook ads with campaign budget optimization turned on. Now, I just want to start off this video by saying if you've tested campaign budget optimization in the past and you just haven't got any good results with it, then I don't think that's entirely your fault. In fact, I was testing campaign budget optimization for quite a while when it first came out, and I just couldn't get results that were better than running ads with campaign budget optimization turned off. So for the most part, for quite a while, I just left it off and just carried on running ads the normal way. And if by any chance you've experienced the same thing in the past, I don't think it's entirely your fault, because even Facebook have said multiple times that they were going to make CBO mandatory. They were going to make everyone have campaign budget optimization turned on by default. But they didn't do that. They kept delaying it. And in the end, even today, as of recording this video, campaign budget optimization is not required for you to run your Facebook ads by default. You can actually turn it on or off as you prefer. And I think Facebook kept delaying when they would turn campaign budget optimization on because it just didn't work as well as they would have liked, at least not for everyone that was using it. But like anything, over time, they kept testing it, they kept making refinements and improving it and making it better and better. So what I did is I kept testing it every few months just to see if anything had changed, just to see if it now did get better results than having it turned off. And then finally, in August of last year, in one of those tests, I noticed that having campaign budget optimization turned on actually got significantly better results. And now, as of today, I pretty much have campaign budget optimization turned on for all of the Facebook campaigns that I run for myself and also for the clients that I help as well. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you haven't used campaign budget optimization in a while, because maybe in the past you tested it and you just didn't get that many great results. Then maybe it might be worth testing it again just to see what happens this time, because I do think they have made some significant improvements in the way that it works compared to how it worked maybe a year ago. So with that out of the way, let me go through a simple strategy that you can follow when it comes to creating campaigns, Facebook ad campaigns with CBO turned on, and how you can structure your CBO Facebook ads campaign to get the best results if your goal is to generate leads, appointments, and clients. So that's the key thing here. So this isn't a strategy to generate more sales in like an e-commerce or Shopify store or something like that, or to get more brand awareness or likes or engagement. This is a specific strategy and a way of structuring your ads if your goal is to get leads, appointments, and clients. So with CBO turned off, which is the normal original way of running your Facebook ads, you would choose the individual budget for every single ad set that you have inside of a campaign. So for example, you could have each ad set that has a $20 budget inside of your campaign. So let's say you have 5 ad sets inside of one campaign with $20 a day budget for every single ad set. That means your total budget for that campaign would be $100 a day. And Facebook would spend that $20 in each ad set equally between all the different ad sets. Now with CBO turned on, instead of you having your budget on an ad set level, you would choose your budget on a campaign level. So instead of saying I want to spend $20 each day on every single ad set, you would say I want to spend $100 inside of this campaign, and then Facebook will decide where to spend your budget on which different ad sets that you have inside of that campaign. So what most likely will happen is Facebook will spend more of your budget on the ad sets that it sees or it thinks in the algorithm that is going to work better for you. So what this means in theory, and this is the reason why Facebook has done this change with trying to get people to use CBO, is that it means that when you have CBO on, you should in theory be using your budget more effectively, and you should be only really spending your budget on ads that are more likely to convert. So imagine you have one ad set that is very likely to get you a lot of conversions and another ad set that isn't likely to get you conversions. The old way of doing it, you would spend your budget equally on both ad sets. But the new way of doing it with CBO turned on, Facebook would spend the majority, if not all of your budget on the ad set that is likely to get you the most conversions. So that's pretty much a quick overview of how CBO works. Now, let's go through a simple strategy that you can follow to actually set up and structure your CBO ads so that you can get the maximum amount of conversions. And structuring a CBO campaign does work slightly differently to the old way of doing things, to having CBO turned off. So the old way of running ads with CBO turned off, you might have one campaign which is focused on lead generation. And inside that campaign, you can have lots of different ad sets with maybe different ad angles and different audiences that you're testing. And then you test all of those different ad sets to find the best combination of audience and ad angle and ad creative that's going to get you the best cost per lead. Now, the new way of doing that, if you did that exactly the same way and just turned CBO on with a campaign that had lots of different ad sets, you probably wouldn't get very good results. So the new way of doing it is you need to have individual campaigns for every ad angle that you're talking about inside of those ads. Now, just to clarify, when I say ad angle, what I'm talking about is the text and the headline that you say inside of your ad, okay? So you would have different ad angles for different campaigns. So I'll go through how this works in a little bit more detail in just a second, but for now, I just wanted to give you an overview of how that would be structuring it the new way compared to how you would be structuring it the old way. So with the new way, you would have a new campaign where you would turn campaign budget optimization on. And then inside of that campaign, you really only want to have maybe anywhere from 2 to 5 different ad sets with a campaign that has a $100 daily budget. And then inside of those ad sets, it's not really about creating lots of different ads. It's about creating really good ads. So it's about creating less ads, but really good quality ads that are very likely to work, rather than just testing everything and just kind of seeing what works. So it's all about more about having better quality ads versus just having a lot of ads and then just letting Facebook find the right ones. You already kind of need to start off with some good ads to begin with. And this also goes hand in hand with the new Facebook ad update that Facebook released last year. I'll include a link in the description about that new update so you can learn a little bit more about why now it's important to have less ads but better quality ads rather than just testing lots and lots of different ads. So like I said, step 1, you have one campaign, and inside that campaign you have 2 to 5 different ad sets with the same ad angle. The only difference is that in each of these ad sets you have different audiences that you are testing to see which audience works better. And then inside of each of those ad sets, you want to have different ads, maybe between 1 to 5 different ads with different creatives, but the ad text and the ad headline is going to stay the same. So then once you've done that, you now have your first campaign set up, which is, just as a recap, it's going to have one ad angle. It's going to have 2 to 5 different ad sets testing different audiences, and inside of each of those ad sets or inside of each of those audiences, you're going to have 1 to 5 creatives. But the key thing is that this one campaign in Facebook is going to be focusing on one ad angle. So one message or way of communicating the big problem that you solve for your clients. So maybe you have more than one way of communicating how you can solve a big painful problem for your clients. And if that's the case, then what you need to do next is create a second campaign for your second ad angle. And then in this second campaign, you just do the same thing. So this will be step 2. Step 2 would be creating a second campaign or maybe even a third campaign. And every campaign that you do, you would structure it in the same way. You would test different audiences and ad sets. And inside of those ad sets, you would have different ad creatives that you can also test. But the key thing is that every campaign that you're testing on Facebook, which has its own daily budget, each of those campaigns is testing a different ad angle. So different ad text and a different ad headline to see which angle is going to work best with the audience that you're targeting. And then step 3 is, after you've been running CBO on these different campaigns for, let's say, about 7 days, which should give you enough time to give Facebook enough data to test how well these campaigns are going, you should have your cost per lead for each of these campaigns. And then what you need to look at is, for each of these campaigns, have a look at which campaigns are performing the best, so which campaigns are getting the best cost per lead, and also which ad sets inside of those campaigns are getting the best cost per lead as well. And then here's what you can do if you really want to maximize your results. What you can do in step 4 is you can then take your best performing ad sets from your best performing campaigns and create a new campaign. And inside of this new campaign, you just have your best performing ad sets from the previous campaigns. And then inside of this new campaign, you still have CBO turned on. But again, the key thing is that in this new campaign that you've just created, you're only going to have your best performing ads, which is really going to help you get some great results when you're running Facebook ads. So you're basically combining your best ads with the CBO algorithm, which is going to show your ads to the most relevant people and spend your budget in the right way. So you're really going to get some great results with this structure. And then step 5, you can then decide if you want to scale up your ads. So basically spend more money, increase your budget so that you can start getting more and more results. Now with this step, you want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to increase your budget too much where you could oversaturate your audience. So if you have a smaller audience, this is going to be more likely to happen. If you have a fairly large audience, then this is less likely to happen and you're more likely to be able to spend more money each day on your ads and still get a good return on your investment. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is if you're getting sales appointments, you also need to be aware of your own limitations, especially if you're the one that's handling these sales appointments. So you might not have the capacity or the time to have lots and lots of appointments. So that's another thing you need to keep in mind if you're increasing your budget. You just want to be careful that you don't increase it too much where you just don't have the time to handle those appointments. So the great thing with Facebook ads is you can pretty much scale things up or down as you like. So if you want more appointments, you can just spend more money on Facebook to get that. If you want less appointments, you can spend less money on Facebook to do that. So you are in full control of your budget and what kind of results that you get. Now, just as one more bonus tip when you're running a CBO campaign, this strategy or this step-by-step process that I've gone through pretty much explains how to run a CBO campaign if you're initially testing some ad angles and audiences and basically testing some ads that you're not 100% sure yet how well they are going to work. Now, if you already have data on what are your best performing ad angles and ads and creatives and audiences, and you already know all of that, then you can actually skip a lot of the first few steps I just went through, and you can just go ahead and create a CBO campaign with your best performing ad sets, with your best performing audiences and ad angles and ad creatives, and you can just do that from the start. But if you don't yet know which ads are going to work best in your business, then it's probably more wiser and less risky if you test the ads first using the steps I just went through a moment ago. And then once you know what's going to work best, then you focus on creating one CBO campaign with your best performing ads. Now, if you want to see a more detailed walkthrough of how this actually works, I actually go through a real life example when I create a CBO campaign for my own business, and I share my screen and I show you how everything works. And I walk you through a real life campaign example so you can actually see how it all works in more detail. So going through something like this, it's at least a few hours worth of content so you can see how everything works. And what I also do is I walk you through what works really well, what doesn't work so well, so you know what to do when you experience the same kind of things. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, that's all inside of my training program that I've created where I go through step by step how you can do all of this. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how that works, then the best thing you can do is sign up for the free masterclass training that I've recorded, and I'll include a link over here and also a link in the description where you can check that out if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how that works. But other than that, I hope that you found this video helpful when it comes to creating a Facebook ads CBO campaign for your own business. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.